Welcome back to Texas Rangers with the Boys. We are the Boys, your daily Texas Rangers podcast by a couple of pro wrestlers who love Rangers baseball, and we want to thank you for making us the first listen of your day. This is your boy Kev, a.k.a. YBK, Kevin Frazier. Man, oh man, do we have a show today. We got a little bit of interesting news around the league to talk about. A really interesting player gets optioned. Yeah, I know. An interesting player gets optioned. Really bizarre. And we'll talk a little about American League West and the surging Oakland Athletics. And we're going to definitely get into some Rangers talk with Nate Eovaldi and what all that means. And then we got a box score for you and a big preview of a Big 10 game road trip upcoming for the Rangers. So check me and my son out on social. He's loving it. Whatever this. Oh, it's the little pig on Miss Rachel. Check me out on social media. Kevin Lee Frazier. That's Frazier. Don't forget to check out Texas Rangers with the Boys on social media. TX Rangers WTV. Don't forget to check out that website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
That's all one word.
And don't forget to see us here not live, but see us in person, see our faces, this cute little baby, Baron, on the CTH network at Chilltown Hoops on YouTube. Finally working that into the intro. It only took me like 12, 15 shows to get it done. So as always, joining me, my co-host, plural today, the little manimal, Baron, and the 300-pound manimal, a.k.a. Bull. How you doing, buddy? How was the ball yard again on your birthday?
Well, you know, you got to go as often as you can when your birthday is and people are taking you. You know, like when it doesn't cost anything, the ball yard is great. I went to 2 games. I don't think I spent a dime except for on the hat. The souvenir beer. Remember the bat beer? I got me one of those bat beers.
Got it?
And we forgot to do the review on the waffle taco or the chicken and waffle taco. Real quick.
Now's the
pretty
time.
Good. Yeah, pretty good. Not bad at all. Today I went with a more traditional nachos. Should have went back over and got more waffle tacos for real. They were much better than the ballpark nachos. You could tell today was the end of the homestand, because the nachos tasted like the chips tasted like it. They were maybe they were using the ones they always use down there in the all you could eat. But today on the show, come for the Rangers and baseball talk, stay for the baby. we got a baby today. That's pretty great. I love having Baron along for the ride, because at some point in a time frame, and it's probably a handful of years down the road, but he's probably going to host the show for you.
Yeah,
he's
man.
Be like, Dad, get out of the way. I'm going to talk about Wyatt Langford.
Exactly.
So,
hopefully, right?
So we're getting to that point. But today again, or yesterday, another fun day out at the ballpark. The Rangers get a W, and we're going to talk about it. Some really, really fine pitching this week by Rangers starters, and that's not even questionable. Unfortunately, today's ended with a little scary. When I saw that it was a growing, because being at the yard, you don't know why Bochy's coming out. A little bit relieved, but at the same time, it could be an IL stint for Eovaldi, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And, the Rangers are a little bit more equipped for it right now than they have been, definitely last year at the end of the year when Eovaldi was down for most of August and September. So, let's see. I guess I'm doing good, right? We talked about that. We talked about how good I'm doing. Like I went purpler today. I decided to get purplerier at the ballpark today. Manimal Bull on Twitter, Manimal 300 on Instagram and both Facebook and TikTok. Bull Pro. So whatever your favorite platform of the social medias are, please send me Rangers questions. I don't do anything all day. I'm a retired professional wrestler. I don't have a lot going on. So if you want to talk about Rangers baseball, let's do it. Or just baseball in general, because, I know Chilltown Hoops, that's national. So, we're just lucky to be able to bring our little broadcast to what they're doing mainstream-wise. So we're just kind of very fortunate right now to be in that spot. But anyways, before we get to the show, we got to pay some bills. We got a buddy of ours that he gives us some money so we can have some fun things in the background and a camera to do this stuff and all that. So we talk about his wrestling show, and it's Matt Warpro. They're going to be back at the Southside Preservation Hall on Friday, May 24th. That's just, well, we're getting close to 3 weeks away from today. It's going to be a big time. We're going to have a good time out there. We're going to kick off the Memorial Day weekend right. It's going to be hamburgers and hot dogs out back, and Kelly's Onion Burgers and Big Dogs are going to be the ones that are supplying them. We're going to have ice cream inside, and that's going to be Starry's Ice Cream providing that. And it couldn't be Memorial Day weekend if we didn't have some beer. So we're going to have some beer inside with Martin House Brewing. They're going to give it away for free all night long as you can provide an identification that says that you're 21 years of age or older. And they'll give you beer all night long. We got some big wrestling matches, some hard-hitting big dudes in these wrestling matches. Oh, you know what I forgot to do today, Kev?
What did you forget?
Forgot to give. I was looking at it, and I forgot to give the old light. I was like, man, it was feeling weird. Yeah. So like, let there be light.
Let it be.
Let there be wrestling. Let there be hot dogs, hamburgers, ice cream, and brewskis at Matt War Pro Friday, May 24th at the Southside Preservation Hall. So get you some tickets, or just show up at the door. They'll let you in. They got a couple 300 spots to fill, and they'll have one for you if you get there about 7:30.
Nice promo right there, brother. That was a good one. Well, hey, let's hop into it. So real quick around the league, we got just a few minutes to chat about it. So we've got the Jose Abreu thing. It's American League West time anyways. Might as well talk a little AL West. The big, I don't know, man. This one I don't like it. And I don't mean I don't like what they did. I understand why they did this, but like, man, that sucks.
Well, yeah, this isn't like Jose Abreu option to AAA. This is like Jose Abreu sent to the Florida complex. This is weird. It's unprecedented, but Jose Abreu has struggled now. Look, humble brag. When he signed that contract with the Astros, yep, I said on this show that they would pay for the waning downfall of Jose Abreu. And last year was the start of it, and he tried to do Pilates to get in shape, and it didn't work. And now they're paying $18.5 million for Jose Abreu to be at the Florida Coast League or the Complex League. And, that's crazy. And I didn't like that move when they did it. I knew it was a bad move for that team. They got to have somebody that if it were me, I would move, Yordan Alvarez to first base. Why does Yordan Alvarez not own a first base mitt?
He's gigantic.
John Singleton can play first base, but Yordan Alvarez, I don't know. It didn't feel like an upgrade for the team last year when they signed him. It definitely didn't feel like an upgrade for him all year last year, and this year the decline is real, brother. It's everything that the NBA wanted Dirk Nowitzki to be back in like 2014.
Yeah. Who else the Astros had at first base that I don't even think he doesn't look like he's playing, maybe because he's hurt or something, but Yuli Gurriel's not doing anything either.
No, I don't know where he's at. He played with Miami last year. He's been free agent. I don't know if he signed a minor league contract. But yeah, remember all offseason, nobody wanted to pay Joey Votto or give him a one-year deal. Veteran minimum for Joey Gallo wouldn't look so bad. Joey Votto wouldn't look so bad for Houston right now, but Singleton's hitting the ball right now. He's kind of carrying the offense. So as long as he's hitting, I don't expect it to last very long. But as long as he's hitting, they've got somewhat of a replacement there at first base. But I knew that was a bad contract from the get-go.
Yeah, good call. It's just kind of sad. You hate to see stuff like that, but I think the Astros will be fine at first base. And we'll just kind of have to see whatever if we ever hear from
And
we
I
ever hear
mean,
from him again.
it's not very often that a former MVP gets optioned.
Right.
And even in their worst times, a lot of times you would see them get designated, but they just owe them too much money. I mean, it may happen at some point if you can't pull it together in the Gulf Coast and down there in Florida at the complex and the Gulf Coast League or wherever they're sending him. It's gonna be a rough decision for the Atlanta Brass.
Yeah, it's interesting times. It's kind of just hanging out back in staying in the American League West. I think we both owe ourselves a humble brag that we kind of are not. None of us are surprised that the Oakland Athletics look like they're going to be a legitimate team this year. And right now they're positioning themselves to be more than just spoilers. Like they're positioning themselves to be
Yeah.
actual contenders.
Yeah, just a couple of games under 500. You're starting to see some of those kids grow up, and the A's do this a lot, where they develop players, and then those developed players get sent away for new players to develop. And this time, they got quite a few kids that were AAA level that were ready to go, and then they've developed a bullpen in the back end with Miller and Urquhart that is just. It's dynamite back there. It's as good as Harvey and Finnegan for sure, maybe even a little bit better, and that's saying a little something.
That is.
That Nationals and the A's, they got good back in. Not to discredit Robertson and Yates and what they've done for Texas, but those guys have been really, really unhittable almost the whole season, and a lot of credit to the A's just kind of finding guys to plug and a handful of failed relievers or starters are turning into really, really good relievers, and they've got players kind of all over the diamond, and they were willing to, last year, remember they made the straight up move with the center fielder for Luzardo or one of those guys that they developed that just didn't pan out as a pitcher, and I think he's in somebody's bullpen right now. And I want to say it's like Florida, but that kid's kind of panning out for them. And just, the A's, they do it this way quite a bit. And then all of a sudden, you're not too shocked whenever they're hovering around 500 at the All-Star break. And some of those kids really break out in the second half and they make a run.
Yeah.
It's happened several times.
Yeah, we're not surprised by it because it's just, you see it so much. Well, hey, look at that. We're right on time here. So let's hop into some Rangers news. That was fun. Good times, but like AL West, Rangers half a game back.
Yeah, half game. Most
wins.
Trip. They got the most wins in the division. They just happen to have one more loss than the Mariners. Man, what a difference of bases loaded single could have been last night, right? We could have been talking about the first place Texas Rangers, but hey,
the chopper.
I think
chopper.
Again,
chopper.
A chopper, Eddie. A couple of ground ball double plays hit up the middle, and they win this game. Yeah, man. No RBIs, but a couple of runs, But anyways, it's funny that me and Michael on the way to the game today, we were talking about the same thing that me and you have kind of talked about, and he's like, all off season, it was kind of like, hey, if we can hang around 500 until we start getting healthy, then get on a heater and run the last gamut of the season and be in a good spot to win 88 to 95 games and be in the playoffs. And he was like, and now that they're doing that, it's like the goalposts have moved.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, hey, we saw that, hey, this thing could go 500 and they should have won a handful of those games. But how many games last year? The Rangers could have won 125 games last year if they didn't blow any saves. Yeah. If they would have had a combination of Mason Miller, Hunter Harvey, Jeff, Finnegan, Urquhart.
It's funny though you bring this up. I read the little article where they kind of did the transcript of Chris Young and what he said, and honestly, I really liked what he said because he was like, I mean, he said confidently, like no flinching. He's like, this is a good team. Like, this is a good team. Things just are kind of haven't really come together exactly for us, but this is a good team. And I really like to hear, I like hearing him say that because I think we agree. And I love that we have the expectations. I love it because that's what winning baseball towns expect their team to win. I love it. Like give me that luxury. Give me that over the the accepting mediocrity, being happy about what was the third baseman guy, Cabrera, what was his name that you guys were always jacking around about the couple of years back?
Oh gosh, I used to make so much fun of just
Yes. Yeah.
Oh gosh,
You
man,
want
I
to say
can't think of his
Asdrubal
name.
Cabrera?
Yeah, Asdrubal
Asdrubal Cabrera, and
Cabrera.
then the other
Yeah,
one too.
that was
Another one.
the one.
Ibanez or something.
Uh,
Andy Ibanez.
Andy Ibanez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they was trying to sell me that.
Well, I mean, remember they were so unwilling that they left Patrick Wisdom down at AAA to hit 35 home runs to not to throw Asdrubal Cabrera out there. I don't know. It was wild. I mean, like you think about that back in the day. I mean, but now, I mean, gosh. I don't want to talk about Asdrubal Cabrera
No,
ever
but
again.
the point kind of is hey, we have moved into a place where like the fandom's not going to accept mediocrity. And I will say this, Rangers fans that listen to this show, I love it. Don't stop. Don't revert. Like keep the expectations high because there's nothing wrong with that. But also, like we talk about on this show, good fandoms, and I learned this from a St. Louis Cardinals fan because as a Rangers fan, I know nothing about this. But like the other thing is like don't panic either. Like yes, have expectations, but also don't show your hand, like just play it cool. It is a long season.
Good baseball team.
We know, real quick, and I'll pass it.
Yeah.
One thing we know is that with a guy like Bruce Bochy at the helm, just get us into the playoffs, give us a chance, give us 2 or 3 guys at the top of that rotation that can give us that can help us win some games. And I like my chances.
Oh, and like here, you know what the difference between good baseball teams and bad baseball teams are? Good baseball teams play 500 5 months out of the season and play 20 games over 500 1 month of the season. Bad baseball teams play 5 months of the season at 500 and go on a 10-20. You know what I'm saying? Like they play around 500. Baseball is a game where half the game or a handful of games you're going to get beat pretty good. Handful of games you're going to beat them pretty good, and the rest of them you hope you win some games that are close.
Right.
And that's just kind of how baseball is. And I mean, Ron Washington said it best, right? When he would say that, that's just the way baseball goes sometimes, and it really is the truth. I mean, sometimes you get a 3-hit, 1-run performance out of Andrew Heaney, and you can't score a run for him and leave 11 runners on base. And the next night you go out and score 6 runs and put up 2 crooked numbers. And I mean, the night before that, they scored 7. They scored 14 runs, or they scored 13 runs in this series, and they could have used 2 on one night and couldn't get it.
Well, we saw a lot of that last year too. Like if we could have spread the runs out a little more over the games, we'd have won a heck of a lot more games too. But that ain't how baseball go, right?
And I think the key is we look back at this series now, and like I said to you last night when we left the ball game, you put it behind you, you win tomorrow, you take the series, and you go on. Right. And you hit the road because they got a 10-game roadie in 10 days, and they've got a travel day in that. So they've got 10 games in 9 days with the travel day. So, I mean, you take the wins where you can get them. It's a winning home stand. You get 5-4, something like that. 5-4, I guess, on a 9-game home stand. So, you win a homestand, you go on about your business, and you hit the road and start figuring out how you can win this road trip.
Well, Nate Eovaldi, growing thing yesterday. afternoon. Really, I hope it's nothing. I think it's going to be nothing. Just being optimistic. So I guess the next line of conversations kind of is like, okay, so now what? I mean,
Well, I
what does
guess
this mean now?
the first thing is you have the MRI tomorrow in Kansas City, and you find out where you're at, right? Like that's the first thing you do. If you've got the, I guess the first thing that could possibly be is that nothing is there. Eovaldi probably could have pitched yesterday if it wasn't a spot where they were in a pretty good way with a healthy bullpen. That's one option that it could have been. The second option is you have the MRI. There's something wrong. He's going to have to hit the 15-day for 15 days, 15 to 20 days, something like that. And then you've got to make a decision. You got a strong outing a couple of nights ago from Owen White.
Okay.
You've got a strong outing yesterday afternoon from Jack Leiter. He gave up a couple of home runs, but it's Albuquerque. So, even if they didn't get cheated, there's a chance that it wouldn't have left it, with no elevation or whatever. But you got good outings from both of your guys that are on the 40-man roster right now. So that could be an option, or that could be a game plan. I would imagine that Leiter would make the start for Eovaldi if Eovaldi is hurt. And then I imagine the spot start that they would need in that doubleheader before the day off would be Owen White, unless they've got a really, really healthy pin. And then they might call up a relief pitcher and then use Urena to start things. But, that could change if he has to go at any point on this road trip prior to next Wednesday. So, but you could use maybe Urena, Hernandez, Wynn, and maybe call up I don't know if Kelly's back from the IL just yet, or who knows? You get that extra player that day, so I imagine they'll use it in the pitching staff and not the player position players.
On
And
a positive, like thinking about it on a positive, there's a lot of positives here. Number one, Urena has shown that he can go 4 innings, no problem. Jake Latz is a guy you can get a couple of innings from.
Well, Jake Latz has kind of moved into the back end of that bullpen now, where he's kind of their sixth, seventh inning guy with spores.
Well, in I guess what I'm throwing out there is just that they do have options. You've seen,
but he can get you multiples. I think, you're right though. You're right.
Yeah, seen it from, but we've seen multiple innings from Leclerc. So like I think the Rangers have options just with what they've got. But on the other side of it too, this is something that I just was thinking about, is that they also have like a really versatile position guys. So like if they needed to carry an extra pitcher for a day to get
extra day, you get an extra player. You get a 27
Josh Smith can play anywhere. Zeke Duran can play anywhere. So like you can plug these guys in. Like you've got enough outfilders.
Mm-hmm.
Like
you can get both. You can get both Corey Seager and Adolis Garcia a day off playing DH and use Langford in the outfield in both games. And I get 100%, and you can get Tavares or one of Tavares or Carter if it's a tough left-hander that you're seeing in Oakland, something like that, where you've got options and I agree, you're deep. I mean, today the hero of the game was basically Ezekiel Duran.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a big 2-out RBI double that plated a couple and really put the Rangers in a good place to coast after, the pitching staff was just so good this week. I mean, I'm not saying that the Nationals are the hottest hitting team in baseball, but that's a team they're a couple of games under 500. They're playing pretty good baseball. So to see the Rangers go out there and what'd you say, 2 earned runs?
Yeah, for
2 earned runs, and Yeah, 27 innings, 2 earned runs. I'll take that anytime. I mean, it'd have been nice to get 3 wins out of it, but that wasn't the case. But I
What
mean, the pitching was great.
What are we? I think we had one other quick topic that we were going to talk about.
We were going to talk about a couple of AAA guys that opted out of their contracts today.
Okay, so we had.
And I don't know. You got Ilya Hernandez and Chasen Shreve.
Yeah.
And you know how we talked about this last year on the show that like about the first month of the season you play with a team and then you have that option to get out of a contract or be released or whatever from your contract. And I think with both Shreve and Hernandez, it's the writing is kind of on the wall that they're not going to play for the Texas Rangers this year. So go find a place for yourself that you can, make it into a bullpen somewhere. Because Chasen Shreve is a good enough pitcher to pitch in the big leagues. He had a rough spring this year, but he's been good at AAA Round Rock since he's been there. Ilya Hernandez is he's kind of an in-betweener. He's one of those guys that, he hits, but he doesn't hit enough for power. And
Not a super athlete,
he's not a freak. He's not he's not. I mean, he's like 28 or 29 years old, so he's not going to like grow into this new. So for him, like watching Langford, Carter, those guys pass him. I mean, and know that like, hey, if I'm going to play in the big leagues or if I'm going to play professional baseball at a higher level, it's not going to be with the Rangers.
Yep.
And I think that's more the case than anything with both those guys, because I think they're both guys that could be playing in the major leagues right now.
Yeah, they are. And I would be interested. I'll be interested to see. I mean, Ilya Hernandez will probably be a guy that like pops up one day for somebody and has the potential to have maybe a decent
season. A platoon or a utility guy that
he can hit. So we'll see.
I mean, he does hit, and he does hit for average. And I don't mean to like take a dump on his power either. It's not like he can't hit the ball at the ballpark or anything like that. It's just like we talked about earlier. He's not a freak like Adolis Garcia.
Yeah, he's not like tall power guy. He doesn't have crazy speed. He doesn't have like any
huge arm or anything like that. Yeah.
Yep. So we'll keep an eye on it. Maybe we won't. But I will tell you this.
Well, you know what happens to farmhand. Somebody from AA round or Frisco is going to move up and take that spot that Chasen Shreve and Ilya Hernandez left. Yep. And if you listen to the Down on the Farm with the Boys show,
come on,
you would be familiar with those players.
I'm looking right now at the Rough Riders lineup, and the exciting thing is I know we're going to talk about it this weekend on the show. So if you want to hear us chat about it, and I'm telling you, man, Frisco is a lot more exciting than I thought it was going to be, but we kind of had hunches that it was going to be exciting, but it's cool to see it coming together because there was so much like unknown in what I would say like the in-between part of the farm system, not the guys that are going to be getting called up that aren't really guys that the Rangers are probably looking at to play this year. And they're not even like emergency guys, but they're guys that maybe a year or so from now. And these guys are starting to, this is where you kind of find out where these guys really, are they a legit prospect or do they got a long ways to go. So we talk about this on our exclusive content. It's called Down on the Farm with the Boys. We cover all things Rangers, minor league. This week's going to be pretty exciting because there has been some movement, and this kind of movement makes for really exciting times, because what happens is when Jack Leiters and the Owen Whites of the world end up at the major league level, that means their spot opens, somebody else moves in, and we start to see what these, the Abimelech Ortizes of the world are really made of. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. Go to our website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
Oh, one word.
Or you can go to our Spotify page for the audio version of this. It's just $1.99 a month. Helps you make us your one-stop shop for all things Rangers organization-wide. If you want to see our beautiful faces, and even if you want to hop on the show and join us for an episode, you can subscribe to our exclusive content here on the CTH network at Chilltown Hoops and get on here and give us your hot sports take opinions on the Rangers, on the minor leagues. Ask us questions, talk about Bull's hat, ask him what he puts on his beard. You name it, we're here for it. So go check us out. You won't regret it. Again, just $1.99 a month on the audio, and then there's 3 levels here on YouTube at the CTH Network at Chilltown Hoops. So
would you be surprised to know that today it was nacho cheese and chili?
That's kind of
That's
what you're using.
that's the shine. That's
yeah.
the shine.
Okay.
Is the nacho cheese and chili.
Okay.
I haven't gotten.
For when you have a beard. He's taking notes. All right, he got his pen.
Yeah, he'll get it down. I'll teach him at the ball yard.
He's got his pen.
Pen and pad. I love it. I love it. He's old school. He doesn't. He's old school. He doesn't. He's not putting it on an iPad.
No, not yet.
Not yet. I like that. Speaking of real quick, with Elia Hernandez being released, you think Aaron Zavala might be that?
Who's the guy I was looking at? He was actually who I was looking at.
Yeah. I think he's probably the guy, and that's going to open up a spot in the outfield at Hickory. And there's BB real quick. Hey. All right, buddy, go lay in your house for a minute. And you know what? I think that guy may end up being Yossi Galan.
They're going to start to break up the super team already.
No, it's but that's how it goes. That's the way it is. And
that is how it goes.
And Galan's struggling a little bit, but his command of the strike zone has been better. And when he does make some contact, it's been really good contact. But anyways, if you want to hear about Yossi Galan and those guys, you got to listen to the Down on the Farm with the Boys show.
Love it. Well, hey, let's hop back into our Rangers stuff. We got a box score to cover. Good box score to cover. Man, good pitching, like you already mentioned. Good pitching during this series. Yes, it wasn't the vaunted offense but honestly, man, like I felt like the Rangers, I know that the night we went is going to probably be something that gets talked about ad nauseum because they're already still talking about it everywhere. But at the end of the day, man, you did what you had to do. You won a series against a team at home you're supposed to beat, and your pitching only gave up 2 earned runs. And I think that, sometimes winning against bad teams can get you back on track too. It does. And so
don't forget that Trevor Williams is having a really nice season for the Nationals, and they got good starting pitching from Parker today and Mackenzie Gore on Tuesday night. So the pitching is legit out there in the Nationals in the rotation. The Rangers were able to get to the starters in 2 of those nights. The other night, they just couldn't finish the deal on Williams. And the bullpen, whenever the Nationals get into the 6th inning, forget it.
Yeah, dude.
Forget it. There ain't a lot of chances out there.
No,
there
man.
Definitely aren't.
They're good, man. They're good, and they're fun to watch. Even when they're not your team, they're fun to watch. And like we were just talking over and over again about kind of a wish list of bullpen guys. And I mean, gosh, I would say it almost starts at a Hunter Harvey, who's just probably chomping at the bit to get at the back end of somebody's.
And the thing is Hunter Harvey is the type of guy that they own for 3 more years after this. And, by the time that he's going to be in that spot where they would be thinking about trading him, I think the Nationals are going to be a good enough team where they're not going to be that interested in trading him. And then you're going to have to pay Harvey as a closer kind of like at the end of this, because I imagine at some point he will be.
Well, like, why not strategize it like this, right? Finnegan's the closer, right? He's the one that's lined up, right? You let Finnegan go, and then you get Harvey, the unaccomplished closer, on the cheap a little bit, because he'll probably be less expensive than Finnegan, because Finnegan has the skins on the wall.
Well, Finnegan will have the value being the closer, and they'll be able to just move Harvey right into that closing role, and they won't miss a beat. And they'll have the other guys develop by then, because some of those guys, everybody that I saw from the Nationals bullpen was pretty solid.
So Rangers take it 6-0. I would say, obviously highlight, Jonah Heim probably right now, I mean, obviously Josh Smith too. Goodness gracious, like it seems like he can't do anything wrong at the plate. But I would say Jonah Heim right now, for the Rangers, when he comes up to bat, it looks, if not the most confident, as confident as anybody. And even that at bat where he didn't get it done against Hunter Harvey, I was so impressed, dude. I mean, he was not intimidated by that
Fought those
98.
balls off and fought off 97 into the screen, and yeah, man, it didn't work out the way that you wanted it to, but at the end of the day, I mean, he had good opportunities, and he made him make pitches to get him, and that's what he's kind of been doing all season long. And today he got rewarded a little bit with a couple of hits, a couple of RBIs, and
Batting fifth in the lineup too.
yeah,
That's another reward.
Yep, and you know, I mean, the Rangers kind of got it all up and down. The only guy that really didn't contribute today was Seager, and you know, I mean, he's in a little bit of a prolonged slump. We saw him hit the ball hard a couple of times. He hit the ball a little bit today. It just wasn't, you know, not going his way right at the moment. But I still am not that overly worried about Corey Seager.
Real quick on Seager while we're here, because I don't want to forget my spot. But also that was something that Chris Young mentioned as well. And actually he referenced the injury. He was like, well, Seager's still coming back from the injury, didn't do spring training, blah, blah, blah. And I know we think of Seager as superhuman, but he's not. I really think like there's probably might still be some residual uncomfortableness, because we're talking about a torso issue, and you're talking about rotation and, you know, like getting cut open in the torso. It's not a fun thing. That surgery cannot be any fun. I mean, I would say like it might be, there might be an adjustment period a little bit for him too. And
well, yeah, and I mean, you're talking, you know, incisions and things like that that are lingering. And I mean, I remember it was a full month before I was able to wrestle again after having a gallbladder surgery. So I mean, I think what he went through was about the same par or level of that. So if I wasn't able to wrestle, I mean, the same thing with him having the same, you know, not being able to do baseball activities through that whole thing, and it being 3 weeks before I was able to even start running ropes and getting back into a feel of the ring. So I can see that, and I can definitely see it being, you know, probably a harder injury to come back from than the gallbladder surgery.
right. Well, as far as on top of the offense, I mean, the pitching was just like, I mean, what can you say?
Well, I mean, it was as good as it's been all week, and you know, I thought Eovaldi was rolling. He probably was well on his way to finishing that inning before he felt a little something. You knew something was wrong. I mean, they popped right out. Somebody was looking at something and saw that there was something wrong. So, you know, but he was cruising. He had 8 strikeouts, just a couple of walks, which for the last couple of outings, having 10 walks over the course of 2 outings, for him to be back down to just a couple of walks, the 8 strikeouts, 4-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio is much better than what he has been at. Just a couple of hits, so just a handful of base runners all day long, and you know, the Rangers were able to, you know, Jacob Latz came in. He got an inning and a third, so he was able to get him into the 7th inning before they went to Robertson to get the last out in the 7th, and then he got the 8th inning, and then they scored a couple of more runs, and they decided to go to Jonathan Hernandez in the 9th. Hernandez needed some work. He did give up a hit, but he was able to work around that. He got the next guy to ground into a force play, and then right behind that, a ground ball double play. So Jonathan Hernandez, he looked pretty good. His stuff has really come around this year, and if he can continue to be that guy for the Rangers in the back end of this bullpen, it makes the front end of that, or I mean, that guy in the bullpen, it makes that front end start looking really, really strong between him, Cole Winn, you know, Urena, and have all been really good right now for the Rangers. And there aren't a whole lot of guys, Leclerc too, who they've kind of put in those maybe not non-pressure situations, but less pressure situations. They've all been good. Today was no different. Latz was good. Just gave up the one hit. Robertson, he did walk a guy, but then worked around it, no problem. Almost made an error on his last play. Couldn't quite get the ball out of his glove, but was still able to get it down to Nate Lowe in time to get that out, the final out in the 8th inning. And like I just said, Hernandez was really good. Nice stolen base from Nate Lowe there. Did you see that? Like they threw over at him, and it was the most Nate Lowe slide of all time back into first base. It looked like some sort of like beached whale that didn't quite get on the beach, and it was still in the water a little bit. And then boom, dude takes off like next pitch and steals second on him. So and it looked good, I mean, but the Rangers 5 for 14 with runners in scoring position. Same amount of base runners as last night. Similar amount of base runners was last night, coming through a couple of times. Zeke Duran had the big hit in the 2nd inning to really cap that inning. And
let me run a few stats at you real quick, just to kind of like put some numbers to what we're talking about with the bullpen, right? And if I'm jinxing the bullpen, that tells me how important I am to Rangers Nation. So I feel like it's worth talking about. Check this out: Spores earned run average 0.
Yeah, just giving up a couple of inherited runs.
Full win 0. Kirby Yates 0. Jose Leclerc has dropped his earned run average from like 25 to 6. Jacob Latz 287. David Robertson 1.08. I mean, Urena's
Jonathan
Hernandez 0. It has truly been interesting to see this come together, and I really like the back end of their bullpen. But I mean, what's funny is that we saw the signs from Latz. We saw some confidence happening with him. So I'm surprised, but I'm not like floored by it. But Spores, like I think we kind of saw him turn a corner last year, and it seems like he just has to get healthy, and he's
stay healthy.
Cole Winn, I mean, I'm sorry, nobody. I don't care who you are. Nobody saw it coming. Back to Chris Young, though. Chris Young brought up something, and I actually agree with this. We had this conversation, I want to say years ago, about certain types of players. There's a certain level of like intensity that certain players play better in certain like environments. And he brought this up about Cole Winn, and he said that Chris Young said that like he speaks from personal experience, that like for him as a pitcher, something happened to him when he got into the major leagues that kind of upped his game somehow, just being there and having more pressure. I don't have the exact quote from him, and I sound like I'm kind of butchering it, but he said something that I thought really made a ton of sense when it comes to like what he thinks is going on with Cole Winn. And I agree. I think it's something that he's kind of, it might be that he's kind of been in the minor, I think about like a Nelson Cruz or certain players, like once they got to the big leagues and they kind of got like established, like they started to truly realize their potential, as where maybe they weren't quite as good in the minor leagues. I know what I'm trying to say. I was trying to get the quote from Chris Young on it, because it really kind of coming from a major leaguer, it means a lot more than coming from like a podcast host who doesn't.
Yeah, no, definitely. And while you're looking at that, the one thing I would say is that with Cole Winn, I mean, we saw spurts of it last year where he was, Pacific Coast pitcher of the week a couple of times, pitcher of the month 1 month. You saw spurts of it when he moved to the bullpen, of him starting to kind of have moments. And then you also saw nights where he was gave you a good inning, and then the next inning it was
Yeah.
7 earned. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
here, I
no
got the
doubt.
quote.
And
All right, let me give you the quote so it says better what I'm trying to say because he says it way better than I could. Chris Young said that what has been a big what is your assessment of Cole Winn? Why has he made this big jump? He said he's been great. It's been fun to see him. I think he's built some confidence, attacking the strike zone. Stuff's been electric. Got a lot of the weapons, yada yada. He says confidence is a big part of it. Success breeds confidence, and he has a very simplified approach. And he said, just speaking very truthfully from my own previous experiences, it's very easy to concentrate at this level. That's a great statement. It's different. It's a different environment, and different environments certainly bring the best. Certainly, the best environment can bring out the best in people, and I think we're seeing that in Cole Winn. So, like, what he kind of saying is like it maybe is a heightened level of things that's causing him to focus and concentrate more. And I mean, maybe take it more seriously. I know that sounds
yeah,
terrible, but maybe it's like
well,
I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe it's like he felt like he deserved to be here all along. And like now maybe he's kind of like, all right, you know, let's go. I don't know. I think Chris Young is onto something there when he talked about it being easier to concentrate at this level, speaking from his own experience as if he experienced that himself.
yeah, no, I don't disagree. I don't. You see guys that struggle in the minor leagues, and then you see them come up to the big leagues, and they just kill it, and no looking back and no turning back. And hopefully that's the case for Cole Winn. Let's put a quick wrap on this Ranger
Yes,
game
let's start talking
yesterday.
about preview.
Nate Eovaldi 2-2 now with a 2.61 ERA. Parker takes the loss, his first of the season. He's now 2-1, and he still has a 2.53 ERA. He's got good stuff. He keeps hitters off balance with that splitter, curveball. He's got a pretty good four-seamer, and he even mixed in a slider a handful of times. So he's got a good mix, and he has he reminds me a lot of a Clayton Kershaw type pitcher. I don't know that he's got the Clayton Kershaw, but like his actions more than maybe his stuff, but he throws the same type of pitches. He maybe doesn't have the gas that Kershaw had early in his career, but he's got something. He's onto something. He keeps batters off balance. He's got a good curveball. He throws strikes. He pounds the strike zone. He got hit a little bit today, but overall he was pretty good too.
Yeah, Rangers come out of this series as a team with a 3.74 team ERA. That's really good for this team. I mean, their starting pitchers: Eovaldi 2.61, Dunning 4.13, John Gray 2.48, Andrew Heaney at a 5.10, Lorenzen at a 4.24. And I feel like none of these guys have made besides Gray have even pitched their best. Maybe Heaney the last couple starts.
Eovaldi's kind of gotten into that role, but he's been kind of erratic the last two games, even though
We haven't seen the best Eovaldi yet.
Yeah, no, I thought even though he was throwing well, he still had all the walks in the last couple of games. The Rangers on to Kansas City now. They're playing the upstart Kansas City Royals. Royals have been, coming back to earth just a tad bit, but not too bad. They're still 19-13 going into Friday's game. The Rangers are going to send Michael Lorenzen to the hill. He'll be opposed by Kyle Singer. Kyle Singer's 2-1 with a 2.62 ERA and 34 Ks already on the season. And for locals, it's a TXA 21 game. It got moved from Bally Sports because of the Mavericks. Really? So it's going to be a TXA. Sign, right? Huh?
That's a good sign.
It doesn't hurt my feelings for sure.
That's a good sign for the Rangers to be on local television, man.
And they'll be back on Bally Saturday night. The Rangers will send Dane Dunning to the hill. Hopefully capitalize on his last nice outing on Sunday. And he'll be countered by Michael Wacha, 1-3, 4.24 ERA for Wacha. Started the season pretty decent. He's since kind of cooled. And like I said, that'll be back on Fox Sports Southwest. And it's a 1:10 Central Standard Time game on Sunday. The Rangers are sending John Gray and the Royals have not put a pitcher up just
TBD.
yet. I thought it would be Raggins' turn in the rotation, but I haven't been
That's what I
keeping
was
up.
hoping.
I thought he was pitching on, but they may be giving him a day. I don't know exactly 100%, but that's Bally Sports Southwest as well Sunday, and we'll be back Monday morning to recap all of the action from the weekend, and we'll talk about all of them.
The strikeout king, Cole Raggins, 11.3 Ks per nine. What in the world? Anyways,
I never saw that coming in a million years.
I thought he was going to be a good pitcher.
Yeah, but
I
not
didn't know he
this.
was
Like,
gonna
I mean,
be
yeah, no, I thought
lights
he had
out,
the.
ace level Cy Young.
We'll keep watching, but man, it's been good so far.
Yeah, so far so good. Well, hey man, is that
I
it?
got nothing.
All right.
Couple
Well,
of really fun nights at the ball yard. Appreciate all of the people that pay for the down on the farm with the boys for taking me and Kevin to the ball game last night. I appreciate y'all very much. Appreciate it for a birthday. Hopefully, we'll be able to go to a ball game in October for Kevin's birthday this year. So hopefully that'll be in the cards for us. But yeah, no, great week at the ball yard. Had a bunch of fun out there. The Rangers hit the road, and who knows? I may hit the road with them.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Hit the road. KC is going to be fun. Again, thank you for tuning in, watching us here on the CTH network at Chilltown Hoops on YouTube, for checking us out on Spotify, Texas Rangers with the Boys. Thank you for subscribing, for following on your favorite podcasting platform or here on YouTube. Don't forget to check us out on social media, TX Rangers WTB. Don't forget to check out that website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
It's just a one word.
Where you can subscribe to our exclusive content down on the farm with the boys. We cover all things Rangers minor league for the 300-pound. Also, big shout out to all of our farm hands out there. Thank you for your subscription. And hopefully we'll get that Memorial Day weekend, bro, story out to you guys over the weekend when we do down
Sunday, right off the bat.
Get it, knock it right out of the park first thing we start the show. So thanks everybody for tuning in for the 300-pound manimal. This is your boy Kev. We are Texas Rangers with the Boys, and we are signing out.